On this channel, we cover things like streamers LARPing as boxers, YouTubers LARPing as network television executives. We've even covered Disney kids who tend to drop the burden of their mistakes onto their loyal supporters. But today, I'm going to be covering a creator who hasn't broken the law or hurting anybody. And yeah, this is all just this year.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Today, I want to cover what happens when a white girl tries hemp tea even once. Just kidding. It's this wannabe shaman that's LARPing as this, well, about 20 different cultures, all while making crazy claims like, hey, I can heal my kidney with my brain.
Kidney infection, I heal that too.
I'm sorry, that's not how that works, and we'll get to that in a second, because this woman is probably experiencing psychosis.
This is your brain on drugs.
Unless she's just trying to use every possible buzzword without really having any real meaning behind her lyrics. Yeah, it's a fun sentiment to think that you could spend your whole life just tripping with your head in the clouds, but for some reason the internet gave this girl a pass to steal cultural traits and use them ultimately for her financial gain. Yeah, the story is she worked hard, got herself and her parents out of a trailer park and became rich, which is totally okay, but at the expense of cultures who at some points don't have a lot of money to spend on their own, it really comes off as insensitive, and especially since a lot of the times, actually every time, I think she uses multiple different cultures at once, not respecting one at a time.
Those people who suck off your energy, I call them energy vampires.
Okay, Shanin, well, do you know those people who appropriate multiple different cultures at once? I call those culture vultures.
I'm well aware that I attract what I allow in.
Now, to make a video listing all the cultures she's appropriating would probably be like listing all the combinations of a 10-digit pin. You get the point. The fact that this person is clearly making claims with no backing and trying to make their viewers believe in a pipe dream that they shouldn't have to put effort into the things that they want, that they just have to sit around and do drugs and wait for it all to fall on their lap and just manifest it into existence? Well, manifestation hasn't given her anything. Identifying and then sexualizing cultures has. Like, I can't even imagine how many young minds watch this and are like, holy hell, mushrooms look so fun. Well, what she doesn't tell you, and what she probably fails to realize, is that mushrooms have a very different effect on people who don't have everything in life. What I'm saying is it's a gamble. It's not going to be bad guaranteed or good guaranteed, especially if you're a person that's living paycheck to paycheck with regular problems, regular daily problems that are probably going to cross your mind while you're in the middle of one of these trip sessions.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
We'll talk about that in a second, but back over to the cultural appropriation stuff. We got dreamcatchers, we got traditional bonework. Ooh, dreadlocks. That's always cringe on white people. She's basically got the entire Value Village jewelry section hanging on her neck, and to top it all off, the lyrics just consist of a bunch of buzzwords and woke phrases that I guess suggest that she's woke, I think.
I've been learning shit from the aliens, like how we're all connected to the pyramids, and how we used to use them for time traveling.
Yeah, so that's a lot to take in. She talks to aliens apparently. Probably talks to Alex Jones and thinks that the one-up mushroom she ate yesterday was gonna give her max HP in the morning. And I'm not sure why being entirely self-absorbed is the message she took away from any of these cultures she claims to be the head chief of. Like, listen to this.
Well aware that I attract what I allow in. I am a vibration, people can tune in. I am a spirit, I'm the farmer, I meditate, love me.
It's all me, 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 me. Look at how great I am. Look at all the things I've achieved. Look at how good I've done. In some videos, she says she has the perfect body, which is all fine and dandy. But then in other videos, she describes her body as the perfect body. So according to her, in order to be perfect, you must look like her, which to me is the exact opposite of body positivity. And one thing that people talk about quite often with psychedelics is ego death. It's this level you reach where you experience all of your insecurities all at once and then have to deal with them right then and there. The only issue here is a good portion of people do have bad trips and take away anxiety from those occasions, or they have a good trip but entirely miss the plot and just go on thinking they had ego death and that nothing else can be wrong in their life. And ironically, after this point, a lot of psychedelic users that have experienced ego death just think that they can't be wrong. You know, if somebody gives them constructive criticism, they just pass it off as criticism in general and just disregard it completely. I get that she thinks she's the best, and she's allowed to think that, but come on, she shouldn't be telling her fans that she is the goal that they should be reaching for. That's literally the exact opposite of good vibes. Back to spiritual psychosis for a second. The beliefs like the end of the world is coming, or you're God, or you can speak to aliens. Spiritual psychosis isn't like a medical term, but it's a term used to like imply diagnosis is needed. Sometimes mystical experiences, and in most cases, they believe that they're spiritually superior and sometimes even born to heal others. These beliefs can seem very real to the person experiencing psychosis.
Do you think the Jewish people believe you should be broke? He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it. And don't you ever say I did.
Jesus Christ.
Seems like not that slippery of a slope until you realize that some of these psychotic breaks lead to incredibly horrid circumstances, especially when the person's just a regular person with a regular job trying to make ends meet. Just look at this astrology influencer who unalived her husband, pushed her kids out of a moving car on a freeway before smashing in a tree, unaliving herself, all because she was sure that the apocalypse was right around the corner. Just look at the status she makes in all capital letters, where she says that there's an imminent danger coming. And I feel really bad for the families affected by that incident, but it goes to show what psychosis can do to everyday normal people. Here's what a registered doctor with a YouTube channel has to say about this.
Let me make it really clear. There is no such thing as spiritual psychosis in clinical terms.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
This person had a false fixed belief, somewhat persecutory, whatever, and it just had nothing to do with reality, and she acted on it. She had a false fixed belief that she acted on, okay? That's called the delusion. It's one of the key features of psychosis.
So let's break down some of the lyrics to her music, because one of the lines in one of her songs that is fairly recent, I think, got a little bit of controversy for, well, let's check this out.
From the Pleiades, luring is the race. See, I came to this earth to bring love, light, and healing.
Yeah, for 90% of people who don't listen to lyrics, this sounds like a mellow banger. Like smoke some of that wacky tobacco and forget that you have a job at 9 a.m. in the morning. What the heck is Pleiades? Well, let's give it a quick Google and see what shows up. In ufology, Nordic alien is the name given to the alleged humanoid extraterrestrials purported to come from the Pleiades, who resembled the Nordic Scandinaves. Alleged contactees described them as being 6 foot tall with features of He-Man with the exception of a little acne. Just kidding. That means white skin. So not only did Shanin mention she's Pleiades, but she said she's from there, implying she's not human. Okay, that's a little concerning. Let's discover why. Tall, long blonde hair, blue eyes. Okay, nothing concerning here. Wait. Scholars note that mythology of extraterrestrial visitation from beings with these features are described as Aryan. Okay, still harmless? In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, some scholars and others transformed the Aryans into a mythical race that they claimed was superior to other races. In Germany, the Nazis promoted this false notion that glorified the German people as members of the Aryan race. At the same time, they denigrated Jews, black people, and Roma views this term in the glossary gypsies as non-Aryans. Okay, so you're thinking, come on, Trent, this is grasping at straws here. But is it? If you know what the word Aryan means and specifically put it in your lyrics, that means that you've looked it up, so the lyrics make sense. That means you know what it means. You don't just pick up the word Aryan through random conversation. So, I mean, with just a quick Google search, I'm able to find out all of these weird sus things about that. So, you know, why would she want to even imply herself unless she was toying with people or is telling the truth that she believes in any of this? I think she knows what she's saying here. She knows the lyrics have traces to white supremacy, so it's weird that she buries it in with 50 other buzzwords that literally all kind of just mean woke. For me, it's just weird because if she knows these lyrics and she's implying that she's a tall, superior, white, you see what I'm saying here? And if you're assuming she went all of this time without addressing the cultural appropriation allegations, you'd be wrong. Because she came out and said, hey guys, I have a black friend, and they speak for the entire black community when they say that I'm in the cool here.
Black people wearing locks is not culture appropriation, because every culture has worn it.
No, it's cool. I have a black friend, and they told me it's cool. Leave me alone. When's the last time one person was able to speak for an entire community? It's never truly happened without drama, so you cannot say that you have a black friend who's cool with it, so the entire black community must be cool with it. What the hell?
See, now that's some bullshit.
That's craziness, gaslighting nonsense, man, and towards white people mostly too, because they're the ones taking offense publicly.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
When you've never been told no or been given any pushback, it leads to people thinking they can ultimately step on other people's toes. Now let me tell you, the dense paragraph that she added in with her cultural appropriation post she made is just out of touch. She says, "For the people in the back, I'm Native American and Hispanic and Irish." One too many ands there, but okay. "I grew up in a family that speaks fluent Spanish, visiting my relatives in Mexico often and eating homemade tacos." Oh, and look, I'm Mexican. Don't you see the taco in my hand? Apparently she says that she's not culture vulturing at all. She says she's actually a part of these cultures. "I grew up doing plant medicine and burning sage, doing sweat lodges and teepees and connecting with my ancestors as part of my culture. My great-grandfather was a Cherokee chief." If that's true, then her grandfather is turning in his grave right now after seeing the sight of his rich granddaughter literally making field trips out to her homeland to have a couple experiences to validate herself.
Sold for a tidy $300,000 profit. God, it's good to be good.
This just reminds me of that senator's presidential campaign where she took a DNA test.
Just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100%
Real live Native American.
And came out to the public that she's 10th generation Cherokee. It was an attempt to reach a wider audience, I guess, but it massively backfired on her because appropriating a culture that you have abandoned 99% of doesn't make you part of that culture anymore. Living all aspects of that culture makes you part of that culture. Or at least like 50%, man. A lot of people even say that this is just white people mad at white people. So let's hear it from the Cherokee Nation Secretary of State Chuck Hawkson Jr., who says, "Using a DNA test to claim to any connection to the Cherokee Nation or any tribal nation, even vaguely, is inappropriate and wrong. It makes a mockery out of DNA tests and its legitimate uses, while also dishonoring legitimate tribal governments and their citizens, whose ancestors are well documented and whose heritages are proven." So I'm guessing that if it's not okay for one person to do it, then it's not okay for anybody to use cultural appropriation to, boost their brand. Like a campaign, Spotify, OF, Instagram, none of it. They say it's not okay, right from the source. So let's look a little further into the lyrics again, because some more of them don't make any sense.
I meditate for circle 999 and feel free. Ho'oponopono, please forgive, cause I am.
Wait, what the heck is an ho'oponopono? I guess the action of it is to make things right with people? This ancient Hawaiian practice is a process of making things right in your relationships, including with ancestors, the earth, and yourself. Okay, cool. So what excuse do you have for using that word? Are you 1% Hawaiian? And maybe did you go there and eat a pineapple once? Does she realize that practicing even one of those religions wouldn't leave any room to practice any of the other ones if you did it properly? And even if you could practice multiple cultures at once, don't you think somebody who was proud in their culture wouldn't want to identify as a different culture? It only makes sense, doesn't it? Yes, because let's just take the publicly identifying known traits of all sorts of different cultures and then make my own hybrid culture with the sole purpose of buying a mansion in the woods and bragging to everybody that I'm all of these cultures at once. When all reality, she's sitting in a Jeep, taking what others hold spiritually dear to them and using it to promote her OnlyFans and her music career. So humble. And I'm not even saying her spirituality is bad. I'm even spiritual, but you don't have to show it to be it. What you see in movies and what you read about is literally just like the tiniest portion of what it actually means to be a part of all of these cultures. Yet she seems to think that that's the only part there is to being these cultures. It's the things that you normally see on TV. It's ridiculous. It's this weird trend where people are starting to think that to become enlightened, you have to go and steal all of like the rewards of certain different cultures and its religions, and then leave all of the hard work and all of the other stuff they don't want to do to the people who actually follow those religions and cultures. I really don't get it though. She thinks that wearing these items that are given to people that are in these cultures, usually because they earned them or through being in the culture long enough and staying dedicated, she thinks that she gains the wokeness or the spiritual awakening that comes with it. She doesn't realize that you get the gift once you're awakened. You don't get awakened because you have the gift. And can we just take a second to look how different Brendan Fraser looks in this video?
And I find it, I turn my shit into diamonds. My trailer parked to an island. Used to steal food, now I buy it. I was a peasant, switch perspectives, now I'm Royal Highness.
Bro's about to go on a journey to the center of his consciousness hanging out with this woman right here. I have to think that the people from the cultures she's appropriating, that she's 2% of, must be sitting there thinking, wow, yeah, it's fine. Just come take our identifying items and LARP as an indigenous shaman, Mexican alien. And by the way, don't attempt to fact check this woman in any way possible, because there's nothing on Google that corroborates anything she says. Now, there is an aspect of this that needs to be addressed as well. How she's combining her OF personality with her indigenous shaman persona. I can't help but think she's actually fetishizing other cultures to gain money. I know she's not doing it to my culture, but I can assume that'd be a massive freaking kick in the face. Just bothers me how literally open she is to encouraging anybody and everyone to try and openly do psychedelics.
Welcome to Pillow World, Bri. Let me get up and greet you. There we go.
Like a lot. They're not for everyone, so stop saying it's universally accepted by our bodies like water is. It's not water. It's not rocket science either. It's a research chemical at worst and something grown in cow shit at best. Either way, it's a poison. Maybe it should be treated with a little more caution, because that shit can affect you.
I think I'm dying. Jane Fonda. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Totally Jane Fonda.
And you're probably thinking, man, this dude has no right to start speaking without experience. Who you call in person with no experience? It may look like I've never left my bedroom in my 27 years, but let me tell you, I've had a few experiences, a few phases in my life. I am in most definitely the best position to tell anybody that psychedelics should be taken extremely seriously and with a bunch of caution before you decide to try them, you know? Be careful. But Shanin isn't interested in your well-being. You're all just little shroomies to her.
Hi, little shroomies.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine if she's not lying about how much psychedelic she takes, she probably is looking around and only seeing mushrooms everywhere she looks. Oh yeah, so obviously I'm skeptical that she bought her parents a house and a car, considering she hasn't backed up literally any statement online. Like everybody in the comments like, oh, she doesn't have to back herself up. Anonymity's great. Okay, so if you want to be anonymous, don't claim you have shit then. That's like kids walking up to a park. Yeah, well, I have a cooler thing. Well, where is it? I don't have to show you. But like, who are her parents anyway? That's the thing. I actually don't know. The internet has like 1,000 theories for it, the worst of which being that they work for Lockheed Martin, a company that apparently works with aerospace, the military, and more, which to me is actually pretty believable, but obviously with no evidence, highly unlikely. I also did a little bit of digging. It looks like she had a job in the weed industry back when it was really only legal in Canada on this side of the world. And since Lockheed is a Canadian company, I'm probably grasping at straws, but I guarantee you if her story had any sort of validity to it, she would show some proof. I think this Reddit poster who had claimed to live in the same town as her has a really good perspective on the situation. He said, she used to be a cool little hippie that played ukulele at all the coffee shops, but I think all the locals that know her see that she realized she can get more attention with nudity and drugs. I've watched a couple of her videos and I'm not sure if it's her ego or she can really only rhyme the word me, but all these songs are definitely about me. For all the ego death trip these drugs induce, she's either missed the point or took a wrong turn. It's hard to be a world-traveling drug consumer and a broke single blonde blue-eyed Native American Mexican mom, unless you leave your kids with your parents and use your parents' money to fund these adventures. Or, you know, OnlyFans. The poor girl has that beauty curse, where most people kiss her ass and try to sleep with her or join her cult. So anyone that talks straight to her is just a hater and she doesn't deal with that negativity. In reality, that just means no one can criticize anything she does, or they're a bully and she's a victim. That sucks because anyone who really cares enough to give her an honest guidance is instantly cut off. God would have done her a favor, giving her all those gifts in a 300-pound white girl frame so she could see things a bit more honestly. Now, I don't really agree with the 300-pound thing, but he finished his statement saying, but I don't know if I could take off my shirt and write single-syllable poetry and get worshipped for it. I probably would, but yeah, for all of her talk of record labels chasing her and Peruvian shamans praying open her third eye, I've only seen negative publicity by the truckload. In the end, she's become a joke, and that's sad. I wouldn't want a career based off defending myself to the people mocking me for being a privileged white girl, but that's what it is. So yeah, I'm genuinely really confused why she even chose to go with this route where she's just trying to always defend herself against people when she really went out and actually thought about adding these words in to raise a bunch of controversy about herself. And I really think that in the future, she's gonna get tired of all this and wish she never started it to begin with. That she just created good music and didn't try to piss people off and push their button. Look, I get it. You're rich and you got no worries. I'm not even shaming people who use things that grow from the ground for medical purposes or even for recreational purposes, but if you're getting so high that you think that you're from a different you know, planet, or even a spiritually awakened deity that can somehow heal its own organs with the magic of Disney, then so be it, even though I think telling people not to seek medical attention is completely dangerous to a bunch of people who probably take her word at face value. Push all of that aside. Why does her lyrics have slight nods to white supremacy in them? Doesn't sit well with me. And to anybody who's watching me right now, I don't judge you if you're lighting one up as we speak. But if you start getting too high and start going down rabbit holes making slight references to Hitler lore, then maybe it's time to stop using the devil's lettuce for a while and try some water out for a change. And when I say drink water, I mean water, Shannon. Not Molly water. Just water. Anyways, guys, what's your opinion on this situation? Think it's okay for her to be wearing all of those cultural identifying things on and around her? Let me know in the comments, because the internet seems pretty torn depending on which platform you go onto. I'm truly curious to see what kind of opinions you guys have in the comments. No judgment, no hate, and please do not go onto her comments and say anything rude. That's not the point I'm trying to get across in this video. But thank you for sticking around if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.